What's up, traders? In this video I will be covering the trade that you are seeing on screen right now, which was a GU trade with 2% of risk, which offered me a nice 6R opportunity. I took it. I also called it in the Discord. So if you're interested in seeing these trades play out, also in some daily analysis, I highly recommend you join the Discord server for absolutely free. There are a lot of talented people in there, and I think you will find a lot of value there, especially if you're trading ICT concepts. So let's actually remove all of these drawings and get started with our analysis from top to bottom. So first off, we start on the daily charts, and as you can see, the candle obviously already played out. So let me actually put up the screenshot that I sent this morning for the daily analysis I dropped in the Discord server. So as you can see, I identified that we took out some buy side liquidity that we had left. We also took out some sell side liquidity over here. And then I expected, before we were going back for the buy side liquidity, because we were so close to this internal sell side liquidity and also the liquidity that was laying below there, I was thinking that we could probably target something around that area. So my bias for the day was bearish. So that was the daily chart, and as you can see, we actually are going for that sell side liquidity on the bottom right here. We didn't quite make it. So if this candle closes something like this, tomorrow I will still be bearish, targeting these lows that did not get taken out yet. Let's actually drop down to the 15 minutes and use the replay button so you can see exactly how I was thinking during this trade. It was a trade that I took during New York. So since I was bearish, what I immediately identified is that we had these equal lows right here. Some very strong equal lows. We have this one, we have this one, and we have this one right here. I don't know what's going on with that background. Let's actually turn that off. So given these equal lows, that actually confirmed my bias on the 15-minute as well. So this would definitely be a target that I would be considering when taking partials. So this is the internal sell side liquidity. And then of course I noticed that we were stuck within some kind of range, and this candle happily tapped into a fair value gap, which we can see right here. Tapped into that and had a really strong reaction downwards, which indicated to me that this high was probably not going to be violated. Then I jumped onto the 1 minute, and as you can see, these are those equal lows that we could also see on the 15-minute chart. So let me mark those out again. And they were a really clean target actually. And if we look closely on the top side right here, this is the candle just before the New York Open. We actually took out these equal highs right here. So what was basically happening, we were ranging. Now what I expect is that this is going to be the manipulation. We don't know how that's going to play out. And what do we have after manipulation? We have our distribution phase. So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen right here. So first we have accumulation, manipulation, and then our distribution. So that was kind of the model that I was trading today. All right, so let's actually play the market, and I will show you exactly when I was thinking about entering. So right here, I also noticed that we took out this liquidity right here, which is very nice. And if we look closely, this is also an order block, right? So the space you are in between here is an order block, which indeed got respected. And then right here, you could also say that's an order block, but that's quite a big order block, right? It's a really big order block. And this one actually tapped into this one. So therefore, I'm using this order block as a reference, and I am hoping that this high no longer gets violated. So I noticed that New York indeed did sweep that high because volume started to kick in, but overall the body never really closed above it. So we are respecting that order block right there. Now let's actually drag this line a bit further, because that's going to be a nice little reference point. Let's call that order block plus sweep. Now I was looking for some kind of structure to form where I could actually trade off. So now we have some kind of structure forming. So let's actually mark out this low right here, which is a low that I would like to see violated before I start thinking about shorts. As you can see right here, we violated. So we have our first criteria met, which is the market structure shift. So now we had our market structure shift, which was a really small one, but it's still valid. We actually have to see where our fair value gaps are right here. So if you look closely, we have a really small one right here, but I really wanted to see this one being tapped into. So that's exactly what I did. You could set a limit order right here. I actually took a market entry once I noticed this. As for my stop, I was using the order block right here, the high of the order block, to cover my position. because the market was just open. I noticed that volume was kind of spotty, so that's why I was actually covering quite a bit of area with my stop loss. As for the targets, I wasn't really sure what was price going to do, because of course we were stuck into a range. And what I noticed is that there was still a bit of this fair value gap left right here. So what I was thinking is that price could just as well, which was unlikely but could still happen, take out this fair value gap and then move up again. So that was my first profit target. And what I would also do right there is take off 50% of my position. So that's my 50% off level where my partial take profit will happen. Then I was planning on taking another 25% off near the internal sell side liquidity. And then the remaining 25%, what I was targeting was actually the 1.22970 level. And I will explain in a bit why I was targeting this. That was my ultimate target, and that was the best case scenario that it would hit that. The best case scenario, of course, was that we went down even lower and took out that daily high that I mentioned. And our market entered a little bit higher, making this a 6.07, I think it was our trade. And as for the target, let me go over it. So if we zoom out on the 15-minute or even the hourly chart right here, and take a look at that 1.22970 level, you can see that there is actually an order block resting there, right? So I was basically hoping that we could sweep this liquidity and possibly keep this one intact due to us being bullish. So as you can see, this order block got respected. This one tapped into that. So I was thinking that this order block could probably also be respected, but I was hoping that it would take some liquidity, being the low of this candle right here. That was the general idea for the trade. Now let's actually see how the trade plays out and what my thought process was behind it. As you can see, we get tagged into the trade, and we were kind of lucky that we covered the order blocks high right here from the one on the left, because we did pull back above this level right here, which was no real surprise for me given the momentum that we saw coming into the markets. Then pretty quickly I took my 50% off, and also at that point, what did I do? I noticed that we still had this big fair value gap remaining. And I also noticed that we tapped into this fair value gap. So what I would really not want to see happening is my position, which is currently at 2R. I would not like to see it come all the way back and possibly tapping me out. So at that point, I took off 50% of the position. Then right here, I took off another 25% of my position. And at that point, I was already break even. And I actually put my stop right here to not allow price to breach above and tap into the fair value gap to then continue lower. I didn't want to lose my profit, so I put my stop loss right there, and I actually went outside for a walk. Then I knew news was coming up, and of course I don't want to be holding this position through news, because it was quite aggressive news, and it was the prediction was it was going to be, but I was quite happy that a few minutes before news was about to kick in, I noticed that my total take profit target was actually hit. And just to give you a general idea of how nicely these imbalances in fair value gaps work, as you can see, we went back up. Where did we go to? To a fair value gap, and then we went down even further. So that was the whole trade actually. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this video and this total analysis. If you did, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment if you have questions. A subscribe would be greatly appreciated. That was it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Bye bye.